Board Clerk, is there any additions to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of any additions. Thank you.
Okay. County Council, will you read the items into the record for a closed session?
Certainly, Chairman. There are a handful of items today for closed session. The first is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The county negotiators are Adrian Caleb, and the employee organization is All Units. There's a request to conference with your real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The property is located on the east side of Road 432 at the intersection of Road 331 and Bass Lake. The county negotiator is the county administrative officer, and the party that he'll be negotiating with is Paul Contreras, and under negotiations is price and terms related to this property. There is a public employment pursuant to Government Code Section 5497. The title of the position is Chief of Development Services. Under the same government code, under appointment and employment, is a second position, Veteran Services Officer. And finally, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, and the title of the position is Chief Clerk to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Any public comments on the closed session items? If not, we'll proceed to go into closed session. Okay.
He's still got a good personality. In other words, what's this guy about? I don't know. I know you know his backstory and
You want to use the pen? County Council, anything to report out of closed session meeting?
Chairman, there are no items to report from closed session.
Okay, we'll go to item number 3, invocation by Supervisor Dave Rogers, Pledge of Allegiance by Supervisor Frazier.
Let's all stand. Lord, as we come together this morning, we honor you and we thank you for the blessings you've poured out upon us. The beautiful days, the rain that continues to make our area prosper, and we thank you for the good crops that we brought in this year. And we just ask your continued blessing upon our county for prosperity, for peace, and all the good things that come. Every good gift comes from you. We thank you for our young men and women who are standing guard on our borders and in foreign fields of battle. We pray your blessings upon them and their protection. We pray for our country, and we thank you for the flag that has stood for goodness throughout the years and throughout the world. We pray that it may continue to be a standard of liberty and of good and wholesome and moral values. We thank you for everyone who's gathered this morning. We pray your wisdom on our deliberations. Help us always to be mindful of your will in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, David Allen. Will you please join me in saluting our flag? Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll open and close in memory of Amelia C. Rodriguez, infant daughter of Madera Deputy Sheriff Andrew Rodriguez and his wife Drew. Amelia was born on March the 24th. Her funeral services are this morning, which is going on this morning at this time. Please keep Andrew, Drew, and their family in your thoughts and prayer. That is a tragedy. Any other comments from the board? Okay.
Is that Andrew Rodriguez that was just promoted to sergeant? To corporal? His wife passed away?
Daughter.
Daughter, yeah. Oh my God.
She was born March the 24th of this year. Yes. It is a tragedy.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county residence for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. This morning, it is my pleasure to introduce to you and our organization Ms. Sarah Boss. She is going to be joining us effective November 1st as our Public Health Director. And with that, I would just like to introduce, have her come up and see if she's got anything to say. She comes to us with a great deal of experience and the right skill set, I think, to be a real good fit here in our organization. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's such a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm so excited to step into this new role and serve the community of Madera and to work with all of you. And as the months unfold and I learn more about each of you and what it is that you have as a real passion for our community, I hope that we can really work together to make measurable improvements. That's my goal, is to see the County of Madera really see better health among its residents and a better quality of life. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. I've got a couple things, so I want 3 minutes on each one. So first thing, I just wanted to congratulate Todd Miller. Got this letter from Betty Yee, our California State Controller, and congratulations on earning the State Controller Award for County's Financial Transaction Reporting for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2016. And it goes on, but it's the first time ever that I think that Madera County has gotten this award. And I just want to give Todd a great big hand for doing it. So, and then the second one, I talked to you at the last board meeting about this PJ Comitsis. He lost his leg in a football practice, and I think Jay has got you got a little video I wanted to show real quick, if you would show that for the people.
Now, how come that doesn't make 6 o'clock news?
Yes, anyway, this Friday he's going to be the honorary captain of the football game, and they're having a tailgate party at 4 o'clock at the church across the street from the Yosemite High School, and they got a GoFundMe at the Chase Bank in Oakhurst, or probably any Chase banks. I got all the information. This kid's a tough kid. I know what he's going through. My little brother lost a leg, his same place almost exactly, in a motorcycle wreck, and he lived his whole life that way. It was really tough, and his PJ is going to be tough, and I just, it's just really hard to see a young kid have to do this, but he's going to be good and be tough. And now my third thing is that you guys seen what happened at Napa. We didn't get Measure L passed, and it's a shame, but that's okay. We got to move on. So now we better look what happened in Napa. It could happen to us in any of our communities we have up here. And the CRCD, Coastal Resource Conservation District, which I've been part of for many years before I got elected, done all these fuel breaks around all our communities up there. But they only last 2 or 3 years, and if you don't keep them up, they're just right back where they are, and sometimes even worse, because when you cut the brush down, they come back quicker. And so I think it's all our communities up there in the same situation Napa is. I mean, you just don't know what fuel we have up there. So maybe it's time for us to look at doing a fuel reduction district in Madera County. Probably only eastern Madera County, but if we could do it the whole county, it'd be good too. It would forever take care of our fuel problems. We could have and not just a 10-year, 20-year period of a district funding, but forever, because it don't go away. It's here forever. And if we don't take care of this, we could have the same disaster. They have, what are they called, their winds up there. Ours are mono winds, and I've seen fires. I've fought lots of fires, and some guys out here have too. I've had control burns. I've had them get away from us. But we got to kind of try to stop this kind of stuff that could happen to us. And on December 22nd, Sunday's paper, get in the opinion page, and what's to blame for wine country fires? Bottom line, the fuel. That's the bottom line. And so I think it's something that maybe we ought to start looking at as supervisors. We would hate to have that kind of disaster. We already lost enough houses this year in our county already. And if any of you could have been on my porch and seen that mission fire go up that hill, you'd see exactly what I'm talking about. I got videos and stuff if you ever want to watch it, because it is spooky. So I think that's all I got in public comment, but I think it's time we start looking at that and see how we can protect our citizens. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Hey, Rhonda, what's today? Next Friday, I mean.
Next Friday?
No, today, huh?
October 27th?
Is that your birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rhonda. Happy birthday to you. Yay. I have to get her once in a while, you know.
Thank you. Okay, on our consent calendar. Gentlemen, we need to look at, staff has requested that we pull items from consent calendar S. S is in Samuel, doc number 3412. We'll be pulling references from the resolution. 2, we'll pull County Service Area 19 Rolling Hills and County Service Area 3 B as in boy Parksdale Self-Help. We will keep Maintenance District MD 28 Ripperton and CSA 3 Parksdale. So when you make your motion, staff has asked that you request pulling the references to the CSA 19 and CSA 3B.
The item number.
The item number, it's S as in Sam on consent.
Got that one.
The doc number 3412.
Oh, just that, okay.
Just that. It's one resolution. It's got 4 districts listed, and staff has requested
Okay.
to pull references to 2 of them.
I thought you named other ones, okay.
Okay.
I got a question on one.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, on item H, I wanted to comment. I haven't got no problem with it. I spent many years on this Fish and Game Fine Committee, and these 2 projects for the funding of the kids for a pheasant hunt and then handicapped people, wheelchairs. We've been doing it. I was on the committee for 10 or 12 years before I got elected, and that's 10 or 12 years ago, 11 years ago. So it's a great program, and I just wanted to thank the committee again for keeping that up and Fish and Game for help sponsoring it. So thank you on that.
Did we ask for public comment on consent calendar?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Do we have any public comment on this particular item? We have not.
I move we approve the consent calendar, holding back item S 3412, I guess.
Second.
Right.
And removing the reference to 3
Right.
1
Okay.
The first was by Supervisor Wheeler and the second by Supervisor Rogers? Okay. Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. Public hearings, 6A, Community and Economic Development Department, Planning Division. Hearing to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 2.42 of Title II of the Madera County Code pertaining to the Madera County Planning Commission.
Hop along.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Schreiber, Planning Director, also with Jamie Back, Senior Planner in my office. This is the second hearing on this item, and we are requesting the board's approval of it. This will allow each board member to make a recommendation or an appointee to the Planning Commission of any registered voter or any resident of Madera County to serve on that body. It's updating that ordinance. Available for any questions you might have.
Any question from the board? If not, we'll go public. Any comment from the public on this item? And now we'll bring it back.
I move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. 6B, Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division. Hearing to adopt an ordinance amending sections 1.24.020 and 1.24.060 of Title I of Madera County Code pertaining to legal boundary changes to supervisorial districts 1 and 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the third time this has been before the board. This is the second hearing for adoption to amend the boundaries between District 1 and District 5. I would like to thank Rebecca Martinez with the Clerk Recorder's Office and her staff, as well as CAO and his staff on that. I do have Jerome Keene with QK and Jamie Bax as well. We are recommending approval to your board, and we're available for any questions on this item.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public on this item? No.
I move we approve item 6B.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Hey, I got a few more voters now.
I still think QK sounds like a Pokemon. I call it Pokemon.
Close the public hearing and return to our regular meeting.
Regular session 7A, Sheriff Coroner's Department. Discussion and consideration of approval to hire Deputy Soto at the D step for the Deputy Sheriff position effective November 1, 2017.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. 7B, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution appointing Sarah Boss as Madera County Public Health Director effective November 1, 2017.
Well, looks like our CEO got a little ahead of his skis on this one, didn't he, earlier?
Caught him by surprise.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I do want to start by apologizing. I don't know what I was thinking. I had something crossfired there. I would like to introduce Sarah Voss. It would be my pleasure to introduce her to you today for consideration as our new public health director. She comes to us with a great deal of experience and the skill set that I think will really benefit our county, and we're excited to have her, and she's here if you have any questions for her.
Oh, now we can grill her now, right?
Yeah.
Good morning. Should I repeat my speech or?
No.
No.
We believe you already. Where'd you come from?
I was born in Fresno and
So
have
was
lived
I.
there most of my life and have worked throughout the valley during the course of my career.
Good.
Very good.
Look how many redheads we have in this room. I just want to point that out. We got 5, and I think we're really starting to turn the corner.
So,
Were you born in Fresno too?
Yeah, St. Agnes. Then I
At
came
a community hospital.
Yeah.
They didn't have St. Agnes, I don't think, then.
just a wash basin, Tom.
I make a motion to approve 7B.
Second.
Sarah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
thank you.
We'll take out any public comments on this item. If not, we'll bring it back. We have a first and second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Now you work for us, huh?
Welcome.
7E, County Administration Department, quarterly update presentation regarding the 2017-2018 operational priorities for the Board of Supervisors.
All right. Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. Let me pull up the presentation here. Hopefully I can get it to work right. All right. As your board will recall, we made a commitment to come back before your board on a quarterly basis with updates on the operational priorities that your board identified at our board management workshop back in February. Actually, it was in April. And so the operational priorities that came out of that workshop were updating our mission, vision, and values statement, intergovernmental relations, taking steps to improve that. Public safety was a high priority, water resources, road maintenance, marketing, and tree mortality. So today we have the various group leaders that are going to provide your board with an update on the different categories. The board on June 6th did already adopt the new mission, vision, and values statement. So I think I'll go ahead and move through this unless you had questions about that. And we'll go on to the intergovernmental relations category, which I believe Gary Svanda is here to present on. I'll turn it over to Gary.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my pleasure to be here this morning representing the Intergovernmental Coalition Committee. It was our quest to find a way to better communicate with our fellow electeds, specifically the electeds from the city of Madera and the city of Chowchilla. To that end, we organized on September 30th a workshop that was held at the Madera Municipal Golf Course that included elected staff members and, to our great surprise, about 30 or 40 of our constituents showed up to take part in this morning festivities. The object was to start a conversation and open communication channels between all the elected bodies, hopefully, to then identify some common areas that we could work toward in accomplishing speaking with one voice to the people not only that we serve, but to the people that represent us at the state and federal levels. I think this was extremely successful, thanks to a large part the participation of our own board. They provided the money. Each and every one of you provided the money that allowed us to have a breakfast and lunch for all participants. There was a golf tournament that followed that was a secondary bonding that was also participated by many of the electeds and staff members from the two entities. Unfortunately, we had no one from Chowchilla participate. But what came out of our morning session was an idea and a hope that we could pull together what is described as cooperative agreement, be that a simple agreement or something that will be drafted by our county council in conjunction with our CAO and the city managers of Madera and Chowchilla, that would hopefully identify an elected member that could serve in an ad hoc capacity for a committee that would address the concerns that came out of the workshop. We hope that can be put together and brought before all three bodies before the end of December. And I think our county council has agreed that she will spearhead that activity, and we have every reason to believe we'll bring that back for your consideration before the end of December. Some of the ideas that were identified as we came out of the workshop included an effort towards reducing or eliminating homelessness, regional economic development, water allocation issues, and the potential for centralized dispatch of public safety. So I think with the input from our constituents, we identified several areas that can be magnified and investigated through the ad hoc committee, hopefully with some success. And building on that success, we understand that next year in the celebration of 125 years of Madera County, the idea of maybe holding
board meetings in remote locations. I would like to offer, if it's beneficial to the board, for the committee to offer our assistance in any way that you would see that is beneficial to putting those efforts together. Be happy to act in any capacity that the board may wish. So we have kind of gone through one test run, and we'd be happy to offer any advice or assistance that we possibly could. As I said, we finished up the day with a golf tournament that was won by the team, including the mayor, Andy Medillin from the city of Madera, our city manager, David Tooley from the city of Madera, the head of economic development, Arnold Palmer, Matt Traber, and Chief of Staff for Supervisor Poitras, Anthony Duhan. They played exceptional golf. And their first prize was to name a charity that received a $300 contribution in the name of the Intergovernmental Coalition. I thought that was very appropriate, and we all received some very positive press regarding this. I'd like to take this time to thank our members of the committee who did a yeoman's work. I just get to stand up and kind of describe it, but our own clerk of the board, Rhonda Cargill, Melissa De Silva is out there someplace, Letty Gonzalez, her creative juices were flowing very, very rapidly, and she did an outstanding job with promoting this, so good that we expected around 30 or 40 people. We ended up with 75 or more, wow, which is wonderful. Community got together and were able to voice opinions on several different very important matters. A young lady from my office, Alyssa Castaneda. She's my certified smart person that organized all my stuff. Our CAO, Eric Yvette from his office helped coordinate it. And, of course, our county council, Regina Garza. With that, I conclude my report. As an update, would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Gary, I think as a result of that meeting, we're talking about cooperation between different entities, and we had a power shortage in Parkwood due to PG&E. They were working on some of the lines. We put in a Department of Water. They put in a call to the City of Madera, and the City of Madera, without hesitation, opened up the valve to the City of Madera water. Fantastic. And that's been corrected, but I mean, that's cooperation. This is the result of that meeting that we had.
I think you're right, Mr. Chairman. I think we've opened the door to a lot of potentially really good things. We've talked about this in many instances, and Mayor Poitras when he was there, Mayor Frazier when he was there, and myself and Tom always promoted cooperation between the entities. I think this is a wonderful opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. Great thing. I wished I could have been there. Had previous commitments, but I paid my fair share to help pay for that. What charity did it go to?
It's a group.
The Shumanite.
Is the Shumanite?
Shumanite Place is what it's called. I think that protects ladies and families, specifically homeless families. Our Action Partnership sponsors and helps with that, but I think that's where
women with
wait till I get done.
Mental health.
Supervisor Frazier?
Oh, that. Okay, no. I'm still talking yet, but he's just telling me
I was telling you
what you... No, that's good. I mean, you did tell me, so thank you. Anyway.
I said Supervisor Frazier's
it's really, when I was chairman one time, I called Gary and I said, we got to start working together, the city and the county, and now look at us right here, sitting here. We got 3 city councilmen right here, all elected officials. That's used to be on the city council. Now it makes us work a little bit better. But the bottom line is, if I get elected chairman next year, I talked to my chief of staff a couple of days ago, and I think it's a great idea what you guys come up with to have a board meeting in Chowchilla, and one in Ranchos, and one in Oakhurst. And I'm just trying to determine if we should do it during the day or if we should do it in the evening, because some of our meetings go for a long time, and I'd hate to have one in the evening and go to midnight. So that's the only thing I'm going to bring up. I mean, that I think it would be a great idea to do that, and I don't know.
Might even consider a weekend.
What's that?
Might even consider a weekend day.
Yeah.
Having it on a Saturday morning with very little publication, we filled the room.
Yeah, but what I worry about is asking our staff and everything to take from their family life, and they don't get paid for extra. People need to know that when any of us go to any kind of functions in the evenings and weekends, they don't get no extra pay for that. That's all out of their volunteer away from their family. So it's something that we can work on. I think the committee, and we'll work on that for next year, because I think it'd be really good to also promote the 125th year with that same idea that. And I know our ordinance says our meetings are here. What do we do to change that to have meetings in other areas?
Chairman and members of the board, yes, we could work on bringing an amendment to that ordinance so that it specifically says what our regular meetings are, so that we can hold regular meetings rather than special meetings. But everything that you're talking about is lawful under the Brown Act, and between the clerk's office and myself, we'll make it work.
So that's what I mean. So I want us to make sure that we don't overstep our boundary before we start scheduling something we haven't changed it to make it work. So
no, everything you're talking about is lawful under the Brown Act.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much, the committee and everyone that showed up. But I think it was a great deal.
Supervisor Frazier? Yeah, I agree. It was a fantastic event. I think we found that we have more in common than we don't, and we're serving the same people. And there was people right on the border between city and county, and what they realize is they don't care who's coming out to help them. They just need help. They need to know where to go, and we shouldn't just play no, you're in that jurisdiction. We still have to serve them because they come in and out, and people don't just live along political boundaries, right? Their lives are more fluid, and they really don't care about our boundaries. They just want to be taken care of when they need help.
Exactly.
So one of the things I thought was interesting was the next Monday, Matt Trieber shared with me that his counterpart at the city had called and said, "I've been told from my bosses that they heard the city council loud and clear that we're supposed to work together now." What a concept! What a concept, right? I think it's helped in some negotiations that we have right now. The communication is flowing really well right now, and I think it's just always important that we keep our eye on the prize, and that's having this collaboration. We need to build that trust between each other. So while these communication lines are open, we need to really continue to step forward in a leadership role and show that we're going to be doing the right thing, and that we want to work with them and build that trust and follow through on the things that we say we're going to do. And I think that we'll only get the benefit tenfold for the residents, and that's what it's all about. So I thank you I think it was a fantastic idea to get everybody together. I remember when we had the idea, the intergovernmental thing, and we meet with these agencies on a regular basis, and then when your committee came back and said, this is what we're going to do, I was like, oh my God, what a mind-blowing simple concept, and how have we not thought of it, how is this something that we haven't done? So it's a credit to all of your creative juices, I think you used, was the word, to come up with a very elegantly simple idea that I think has already paid back huge already. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our assessor is very kind with his accolades and giving a lot of credit to the team, but I'd just like to give credit to our assessor, Gary Savanda, for his gracious, enthusiastic, and motivational leadership. So thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next group was Public Safety. They're headed up by Matt Watson from the Fire Department and Tyson Pogue from the Sheriff's Department. Their task or their goal was to come up with new efficiencies using existing resources to make our county safer. So with that, I'll ask them to come down and turn this part of the presentation over to them.
Chairman, Board of Supervisors. Yeah, just a quick update on the public safety portion of this. I'll let Tyson speak to the Sheriff's Department stuff because I think they've met about 8 of their goals. With the busy summer we've had, we've been delayed on a couple of ours. Eric's asked us to work on an update on a staffing plan. I met with Joel initially yesterday, got him some initial figures. But one of the biggest things is the fire replacement program. The 2 new water tenders are here. They have shown up now. So those are getting ready to hopefully go in service in the next couple months. We had a new engine arrive last year. We have an additional water tender, an additional engine that'll be coming shortly. And then also, we're working with the Eric's office on some new locations of potential fire stations, and that'll be a good thing for the county as a whole. So I'll let Tyson talk to the goals they have met.
Thanks, Matt. Commander Tyson Pogue with the Sheriff's Office. I'm going to update you on the law enforcement side of our goals. The Sheriff and the Board of Supervisors has worked hard to maximize the resources and improve public safety this fiscal year. I'm happy to report that we've completed 8 of our law enforcement goals. The first goal was to increase staffing. The Board approved funding of 4 of the previously unfunded deputies this year. 3 of those were funded July 1st, and the 4th will be January 1st. The second goal was to improve recruitment and retention by creating a cadet recruitment program. This allows us to be competitive in the market with the surrounding agencies in sponsoring recruits as they go through the academy. Happy to report this was approved by the board last meeting, and we'll be hiring our first cadet soon. The third goal was to improve frontline supervision and training by establishing the corporal position. The board approved the conversion of 10 deputies to corporal, which allowed us for a supervisor to always be on duty, and each will be tasked with also being field training officers. I'm happy to report these positions were promoted and completed October 1st. On those new positions, the cadet and corporal, I have to give a shout out to Adrienne and her HR team for expediting those positions, and they worked very hard to help us out with that. The fourth goal was to improve the overall patrol supervision and management by converting a sergeant to lieutenant. This increased accountability and supervision of our primary function, law enforcement patrol. And as with the others, this promotion was also already completed. One other area related but not directly related to our goals I want to touch on was Bass Lake. After some major injury accidents and a couple tragic deaths at Bass Lake, the sheriff worked with the board to fund some full-time deputies on the lake. Deputies were tasked with coming up with some ways to improve safety on the lake, and this was done through a variety of methods, including education, innovative grant program to provide free life jackets to visitors, increased visibility, and increased enforcement. I was informed yesterday that we had double the number of boats on the lake compared to 2 seasons ago. So it's great for the county. Lots of boats on the lake. As you can imagine, more boats generally means more accidents and more problems. Even with all that extra traffic, we're proud to report that we successfully ended the season this year with 0 injury boating accidents. So it's actually quite amazing. And we consider the amount of floating debris from the dead trees and the logs that are being cut down, the increased boating traffic. This is just amazing. So I'm extremely proud of this team and their accomplishments this summer. The fifth goal was to increase medical training for the deputies. One of the goals was to ensure each deputy was certified in basic life support, which included advanced CPR and the use of AEDs. This training will be completed with department-wide for all sworn personnel, October 31st and November 7th. And it's been made mandatory for all those personnel. The second part of that goal was to increase specialized training of deputies who wish to receive EMT training. It's a long, arduous class that takes several months to complete, and often deputies are the first to arrive at these medical situations. Increased training will obviously be a benefit to the citizens of Madera. On a related note to the medical training, we're working to equip sheriff vehicles with the automatic electronic defibrillators, the AEDs. Studies have shown when the AED is readily available and used on heart attack patients, it increases survivability by up to 40-41%. We worked with the CAO in the garage. I'm happy to report that with their support, all patrol vehicles purchased this year will be equipped with an AED. And even happier to report that starting next year, all sheriff vehicles driven by sworn personnel, including the unmarked, will be equipped with an AED. So it's going to be a huge benefit to the citizens. I have no doubt that with the increased training and these AEDs, we're going to save lives out there. And then lastly, related to medical, we're working with the public health to equip every deputy with Narcan. So there's a dangerous drug out there called fentanyl that's basically sweeping the nation. And it can be airborne, absorbed through the skin. It's highly potent and has effects similar to heroin. By equipping the deputies with this antidote, we not only provide extra safety for the deputies, but others that might otherwise die from exposure, whether intentional or unintentional. We have some work to do on this end, so that goal is still in progress. So we've completed 8 of our law enforcement goals. Our next planned goals are to look at the feasibility of a DOC inmate fire crew, researching a new records management system, and continuing to look for funding sources and grants to fund personnel outside the general fund to increase staffing. So appreciate your time and support as we work together to improve public safety for the citizens of Madera County.
Thank you.
Great job.
Very good.
Thank you.
Better keep him around, Jay. Better keep him around.
Okay, our next category was water resources, and the goal there was to develop a comprehensive long-term plan for water management supported by adequate funding. And the team leader there is Julia Berry. I'll ask her to come up and give a presentation on this as well. John Markle, I'm sorry.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. John Markle is one of the members of our team. The third member of our committee is Steve Von Flew, and I regret that he couldn't be here today because he's actually been very, very helpful in the committee. He's reached out to many of his friends in the agricultural community to communicate to them what we're doing with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act and has facilitated many different meetings and phone conversations. So I want to say thank you to Steve publicly. He's done a nice job. Okay, so one of the first goals that we had was to find funding opportunities and to procure funding to achieve our goals under water management. And we have begun the process of submitting 2 separate grant applications, each of them for $2.5 million. The County of Madera will be the applicant and the fiscal agent for those applications. Both of them are similar. The first $1 million will be used to put in a series of monitoring wells, which is required under the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, and we have to and want to place those near severely disadvantaged communities. The funding source for that $1 million is specific for severely disadvantaged communities, so we're doing that. And then the second $1.5 million will be to write the groundwater sustainability plans, and that process will begin in January of next year. As far as outreach and engagement, we're in the process of writing stakeholder outreach and engagement plans for the entire Valley Floor for groundwater and surface water management. Thirdly, the coordination amongst groundwater sustainability agencies and other agencies. I call them groundwater sustainability agencies because all of the local agencies in our county in the valley, on the Valley Floor have created their own groundwater sustainability agencies, but we meet with them regularly, and the county is at the forefront of convening these meetings and keeping track of what happens at those meetings, and we are doing very well as far as coordination with the other agencies. Project identification. We are looking for opportunities and have found many opportunities to partner with other agencies as far as moving surface water supplies, also ideas for recharge basins and putting more water into the ground. In the Chowchilla Basin, we actually have a comprehensive list of projects. And in Madera, we have 2 very promising projects for recharge basins. The next step is to find water supplies to put in those basins, which is the next bullet point, number 5. We're actively seeking opportunities for surface water supplies. And as I've said before, there are many more people at the table now that we have to be sustainable in groundwater. So the Water and Natural Resources Department will be bringing a presentation on the 7th regarding Temperance Flat and an opportunity for this county to participate in the feasibility study for Temperance Flat. And that's all we have.
Is that all?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just had a question. Sorry. In regarding the recharge basins, is there any thought as far as or ideas regarding maybe smaller recharge basins on individual ranches and so forth?
Absolutely. Those are the best kind. So if you're an agricultural producer and you'd like to put a basin in, you're free to do so for agricultural reasons. But we are looking for partners who want to help with flood management in years like this year when we had a heavy water year and we can divert some water. So absolutely, we do want private partnerships like that.
Now, in terms of water delivery, like right now, you've got the Fresno River, but primarily it's MID that has access, conveyance systems. Are they on board in terms of working, with the county responsibility areas as far as getting? I think that they've got probably something within their own jurisdiction. I'm just not quite sure, what it looks like right now with the county responsibility areas.
Yeah, you're correct. So the agency with the largest water supplies is Madera Irrigation District, quickly followed by Chowchilla Water District. They also have some surface water contracts. Root Creek Water District also has some water that's available to them through MID, and they also receive water from Paramount Farms. They have a contract with Paramount. So we have a few partners that have water supplies, and we are currently talking with them about how we can share those and potentially move those into white areas, as you call them, or the county GSA areas. Mm-hmm. There are other strategies, too. MID is doing quite a bit of recharge, and I don't want to speak to their plans, but they've been working very hard to figure out how much water you can put on things like grapes, because grapes can take quite a bit of water, and I think that they'll be doing a lot of recharge projects in their area, and they're such a large district that it actually benefits everybody, because once it gets into the underground aquifer, it moves laterally, as you know. Mm-hmm. So I think you'll see a lot of projects like that. I don't know if MID will have surface water supplies to potentially to sell to us. We haven't gotten to that place yet, but Chowchilla Water District has committed that they are interested in helping the county and moving water out to our county areas.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Supervisor Rogers? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In addition to, of course, Temperance Flat, which is for the ages, not for the immediate. I think that we need to recognize the immediate necessity, and I think hundreds, if not thousands, of recharge basins would be an appropriate addressing of the immediate issue, but not just recharge basins alone. I think we clearly see the benefit of identifying parcels at Perkwell and flooding those parcels during the opportunity when that comes, such as what's been done with Triangle T, where we've seen them recharge approximately 30,000 acre-feet this year on 600 acres that they took the initiative to do. And I think educating the farming industry about what they did is really a great tool, because I believe grape crops can be flooded that way during off-season times and not sustain any problems, unlike trees, which will tend to want to root rot. So you have issues regarding types of crops that are on those in those positions. Another avenue that I've thought about over and over again is we have a number of basins that have been built by Caltrans and unutilized to this point. One example was you had Dutchman Creek north of us here that was flowing under the freeway and nearly touching the bottom of the freeway. It was so full. And yet next to it, contiguous to it, miles of recharge basin that was dry. And my thoughts immediately went to, why are we not flooding that, taking that water from the Dutchman Creek and flooding those recharge basins and using that opportunity to do such a thing. So I think we see an opportunity to expand our thinking with other institutions, state institutions, and talk to them about what exists as an opportunity to save our groundwater. And we can do this ourselves, extend Temperance Flat, but even better with it. And I think in the future, Madera County is really leading the charge on this. I don't believe there is a county in the state of California doing what Madera has done on this issue. And I think it's great. I want to thank you for your report and your involvement.
I do want to say one thing. We are going to be the first to submit our Prop 1 applications. We're very early. They're not due until November 13th, and we're submitting today. So.
Roger Frazier? Thank you for working on all the because this is going to be something that we're going to have to work with everybody on and fix it with the different water districts and the communities, and then getting that education out not just to the agricultural community, but our residents that in special districts. Because I know I get a lot of calls if they see a farmer flood irrigating. They think it's a waste of water, and that's not necessarily true. It depends on what type of soil they have, and so letting people know that, if someone's putting a ton of water on grapes and they're calling and saying, they're taking my water, we have to, it's our job to educate the greater public of all the different things that we're using to get water back into the ground to sustain your way of life. So it's a monumental task. I'm glad that people that are much smarter than me are working on it.
So am I.
Thank you to people smarter than me. You're
smarter
happy that they're So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm excited about the projects that we have going in the Madera Subbasin. If we can follow some of the things that have happened in the Chowchilla Subbasin already, I think we'll solve it. But it's going to be together. There's going to be a lot of pain that's ready to come down the pipe. So.
Supervisor Davis?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, too, the component of interconnectivity to delivery systems is so important with recharge, and you can't have it without it. I mean, when you have we get these events all at once. It comes just in a swamp, and you have to be able to deliver the water where it can go to recharge. So interconnectivity is such an important component of this whole thing. And one of the things that we're benefiting from right now is the work that we did over the last 7 years on the sloughs in Madera County and the rivers. We have cleaned out Arundel. We have made those channels viable, free-flowing, so that the free flow of water means groundwater recharge for our region. And never in my history of being in Madera County have I ever seen water flow on into October. And it just really thrilled to me, having gone through 3 years where I looked at the canals and they were empty, and the feeling of dryness permeated the air during the drought. And now we're seeing literally the groundwater coming up at a rapid rate this year for the first time in many years. So it's proven that it can be sustainable. It's proven that we can rescue ourselves. And if we just have the opportunity to have surface water delivery, which is what it takes to stem the tide of subsidence and all of these issues that we're dealing with, if the state would only recognize that, the tools are there. We have to have them. We can't be told you got to sustain your groundwater and then not have the tools to do it. So there it is. And I appreciate your the job that you're doing in the entire county to educate on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to our next category, which is road maintenance. Ahmad Al-Kayat will be coming up to update you on what he and his group are doing to get a good handle on our road system. With that, I'll turn it over to Ahmad.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Al-Kayat, Public Works Director, and my team consists of Deputy Director Mr. Jared Carter, who's busy on the job. I told him not to come. And also Mr. Joel Bugay with the Administration Office, Deputy Director, and Glenn Jarvis with Chief of Staff of Supervisor Rogers. Quick update. Where we left off last time and our timeline is what I will be giving an update on. I do have a slide. Okay. So our objective was to very simply create a pavement management system. And with that, we need to create a policy for your board to approve, and also some public and community outreach. Just keep telling the people what we do every day, in and out. So this is an overwhelming task. I did put a good timeline, which I was hoping we would hit, but better late than sorry. We did issue an RFP to develop a pavement management system that was issued earlier this month. And hopefully we will award the contract. Our timeline says October. We will award. I'm saying November we will award. And I think this delay is good because we had to filter and decipher all the data we had with GIS and from different versions years ago, more than decades old, and so that we could produce the proper RFP that will best target our needs. And as per what you have up there, so we have analyzed and evaluated the existing information and data, and upon that we issued the RFP. And like it says here, the RFP is due October 31st, and then we'll go through the ranking and evaluation and the award. So I'm hoping this year we will lock a contractor or a consultant to go ahead and start the pavement management system for us. And of course, after that, the consultant will be completing a road network condition assessment and also develop the prioritization policy and the outreach for materials. Just quickly, I'd like to go through the RFP just to tell you what is the scope of work. Just really quickly, just read the headings. Data review and pavement management system software assessment. So the consultant will tell us which, they will come with a proposed software for us to purchase, why and why not. We did put some conditions, what software we're looking for, what we needed to do. For example, we are not just the road department, we are public works. We need a software that we could expand, not only that we could put our inventory as roads and road facilities, we also want to do flood infrastructure, special districts, water systems, and sewer systems. So we need a software that will have the ability for us to expand. And once we learn and train, which is part of the scope of work, we can be in autopilot. So task C is conduct field surveys, of course, and data entry, and that's a very big task. And then we will create a decision tree that will help us in establishing the policy, where it says when to interfere and then how and prioritize. So we're taking the politics out of the equation best way we can. And then, of course, we will look at our budgetary analysis and reports, so we will be able to issue quick reports. You need to know where we are for a certain district, for example, what we spent today. For example, if I'm asked today, can you go back 5 years and give me an idea how much work did you spend on each supervisory district? My answer will be, I'm not sure I can. But with this, we could. So I can, but it's very time consuming, for example. But with this, I could. Of course, GIS linkage. We would like to be unified countywide with our GIS data that we can communicate with all other departments. And training. The task is to train our staff to really be able to run, maintain, and manipulate the software. And of course, one of the tasks that we were thinking should be optional, but I said no, it shouldn't, which is a presentation to your board. Once we have chosen the right path with the consultant, one of the tasks is to come and present to us the whole project before we kick it off.
If Matt Watson's phone keeps going off, he's going to be able to pay for it at $10 a pop.
I think he's owed $30
so
right
we're
now.
up, we're up to $30 right now. So this is going to be a cheap.
So with this, I will end my presentation. I'll take your questions, but I think we're on the right track. We're a couple weeks behind schedule, but
so if we have knowing what we're going to be getting because of SB1, knowing what we kind of getting an assumption of what monies will come in. Let's say with this pavement management system, can it say, okay, over the next 5 years, we're going to do this, and this, and so then when somebody comes to us and says, hey, why is my road not getting fixed, and we can go and say, well, it looks like you're slated in 2020 for it to be totally redone. It could reduce the, they may hate it in the next 2 years, but at least they know something's coming. That we can do that?
Yes, absolutely. This is part of the reporting and the prioritization. Funding is taken into consideration because some funds apply to certain job projects, some don't. But if we're living in, here's a utopian situation. First year, once this is implemented, be assured that the system will say, go pave every road, because our pavement condition index is so low in general. So, it will take some manipulating from us to really prioritize. But then this is called pavement management. So part of management is maintenance. This will tell us when to go and be proactive. So and do some work on work that you've done 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. So it will be, let's call it a regimen for each project. So I'm hoping maybe 5, 10 years down the line, we won't get a call, hey, there's come fix the power hole, because it's, but maybe that's what we try to avoid. It's like, we're going to keep maintaining the road so they're as safe as possible and as clean as possible.
Will it say, this road, based on it, is probably going to be in 3 years that we're going to fully do it? Is that
either fully construct or go and chip
whatever,
seal it,
whatever,
go and slurry seal it, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I just think that will help to at least there's an answer for somebody instead of I don't know. I think that we have too many of those answers. Is I don't know when we're going to get to it, and that doesn't do anything but raise people's blood pressure. I mean, they've been dealing with it for 10, 20 years. If they know that there's going to be an end in sight within 3 to 5 years, it might be helpful. So I think I thought it was a great idea when you brought it to me the first time.
Supervisor Rogers? Yeah, essentially, we're going to create a system whereby we'll have multiple shovel-ready projects, and we'll be able to, when we have resources, put those resources where they're needed the most at that time. I think it's also a good a way to educate the public on what's going on with the roads and what have you. I mean, we can tell them the roads are bad. They know that.
Yeah.
The one statement gets made on my Facebook over and over again is the roads are bad. And the answer to the question, why are they bad, is the one that we are trying to answer. Yeah. And it's very simple when you look at the way the state has dwindled our road funds, our road repair funds over the last few years. I don't know if you read the post I put on Facebook. I consulted with your staff to get those figures, and it's very important that the public understands that those funds are dwindling, and we look for an opportunity to do better if we had funds. And so I appreciate what you're doing here. I think it's going to really clean up the circumstances. What we're doing right now is more reactive. This is proactive.
Yes, Supervisor. And one of the things that I'd like to remind you from last quarterly update, I said that this fiscal year, let's say until end of this fiscal year, is the year to be fiscally prudent, right? Yes. And then the following year is the project year. So we will go, hopefully we will have something already set up. And this will be just about at the completion of this task. So around July, August, I'm expecting to have the presentation in front of your board saying we're going to kick it off.
So for the priorities, does it take into account like traffic study or like traffic counts and residential? Does that get weighted higher, or is it?
Correct. It's all on average daily trips. That's the most highly weighted. But then there are other options, other elements.
Like, does District 1 get rated higher?
Can I plead the fifth?
Just the mountains. District 5 on it.
So yeah, no. I think this will be a good start with your support. I mean, I'm really excited about it. Yeah. So by next update, we will have the consultant selected.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I think at the start of your speech, you said you were going to take the politics out of it. How are you going to do that?
By letting the machine communicate with everybody, with the constituents and us.
That's going to work, huh?
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Great job, Ahmad.
Thank you.
There'll always be somebody.
All right. The next category, I just want to touch on briefly. We don't have a presentation until the next item, item 7D, which is a proposed solution to address this goal for marketing. And just to summarize, the goal here was to transform the Madera County image through marketing, branding, community outreach, and public relations in order to improve transparency and harbor community trust. So with that, we'll get into more detail about what the plan is on the next item, item 7D. Tree mortality. That is our final major item. And Brittany Dyer is here, and she is our not only local expert, but I think statewide expert in this area. So I'll turn it over to her.
Thanks, sir. Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler. First of all, congratulations. Those reports were great. It's only been 6 months, and it's really exciting how far we've come. Just as a friendly reminder, this one is organized a bit different than the others because as you guys prioritize tree mortality at that management meeting, we also recognize that we already had established a tree mortality leadership committee. So just to quickly give you a rundown, it was in September of 2015 that your board declared a local emergency and requested the governor to put an executive order out for the entire state. On October 27th, we had an Outlook invitation pop up on our calendar that said, be at the governor's office. And by October 30th, they actually went statewide with that. So we will be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of that executive order here just next week. Immediately after that, we established the Tree Mortality Leadership Committee meeting. Since then, we've participated in the Governor's Tree Mortality Task Force on a monthly basis. We've also testified at the Little Hoover Commission and helped participate and organize a number of workshops throughout the state. That said, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update in regards to numbers, and that is that while the county is doing everything they can, in fact, County Roads has been able to get a grant from the state responsibility areas totaling about $200,000 for some of the key equipment we need. The Office of Emergency Services has been working nonstop to pursue every single grant opportunity that they possibly can. But Tom's also been working with a regional nonprofit group to try to access some funds that we as a county are not eligible for. And to date, we've been able to bring in a total of $1.1 million to our communities that are impacted by the effects of tree mortality. So when we meet on a monthly basis, we meet with the Tree Mortality Leadership Committee meeting. We meet on the Friday before we go up to Sacramento, so that we have all the questions that we need to communicate on behalf of the partners. In those meetings, we have CAL FIRE, Madera County Fire, the Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services, Cal OES, California Highway Patrol, PG&E, Caltrans, and many others. Just to give you a quick snapshot, Caltrans has been able to remove 18,000 trees along Highway 41 and 49, totaling about $8 million. The Sierra National Forest has been able to cut over 100,000 trees with their crews and contractors and has received grants upwards of $10 million to spend in the next 5 years. PG&E has been able to cut 41,000 trees and removing about 11,000 of those, meaning not just felling them and getting that initial hazard down, but taking them out, being chipped, and placing them in other places. These are huge successes, you guys. However, there's 66 million dead trees. So we're really, unfortunately, this committee is going to be around for a while. We're just really starting. However, you know, you guys have been fighting this for 2 years, and on October 19th at 6:51 in the morning, we got an email that what we've been fighting for to try to get the match removed for CDAA, the 10%, is now, they can't remove it. However, we might have been able to find another funding mechanism totaling $6 million for the 10 counties. So your board had set aside just under $500,000 in order to deal with tree mortality, and that $500,000 was going to act as the 10% for a larger project, and now it looks like we might be able to get that in return. So hopefully at the next update we'll be able to give you more of the successes, but we'll just keep fighting away. So any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job.
All right, that concludes our quarterly update. So if there's any other questions?
Great job. What a team.
You know, just a quick thought while you're stepping down. You know, it's important to have goals, but if we don't monitor and make progress on them, what good are they? And I think that's what we're seeing here is the progress and the monitoring of those goals. So we have a good team in place, excellent people who are really focused on what we're doing.
We do. Supervisor Rogers, that's a very good point. We couldn't do it without the folks that we've got, and we do have a great team. Just as kind of a heads up, I think what the plan, I think each year we've gotten a little better in terms of identifying our goals coming out of each year's management board workshop. This year we were able to track them and accomplish a lot of the goals. I think next year's workshop, the plan is to really start to roll it into a longer-term strategic plan. So I think our next workshop will be focused on really solidifying and formalizing what our long-term goal is. So
very good.
Goals are.
Thank you.
Seven D, County Administration Department, Madera County Public Information Team. Discussion and consideration of approval to establish a Madera County Public Information Team is outlined in the Madera County Strategic Communication Plan in consideration to 1, adopt the Madera County Strategic Communication Plan, 2, adopt the amended 2017 social media policy, last revised January 25, 2011. 3, set salary incentives for the Public Information Team as follows, effective October 1, 2017. A, Team Leader, Deputy CAO, HR, additional 7%. B, District Chiefs of Staff, additional 6%. C, Department Leads for Unrepresented Classes, additional 3%. 4, authorize the Human Resources Operations Division to continue discussions with labor organizations to provide additional salary incentives for department leads and represented classes. 5, enter into an agreement with Hootsuite Media US, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $24,475 per year to provide for the management of social media posts for fiscal years 2017 through 2020 and authorize the chairman to sign.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator, again. This ties back to one of your operational goals, which was categorized as marketing, but it was your board's desire to improve transparency and to harbor community trust. So what we did after getting that initial direction was to go back and really start thinking about how we do that, and the natural thought was to look at, well, do we need a public information officer? That's kind of the traditional way that organizations like ours coordinate and get information out. So as we looked more closely at what that would entail and the broader team that we'd have to engage to get information to this individual if we were going to hire this new position, which would be a highly paid position, probably $125,000 or so, we really started to look more at existing staff and the people that would actually be generating and feeding this information up to a PIO, and started thinking about a structure where we would just utilize existing staff rather than hiring a new position. And then along with that, provide incentive to make sure that we were getting a continuous flow of information about the county out to our constituents. As your board knows, we do such a broad range of things, and there's so many stories that we could get out on a daily basis. It's really impressive. So I think we've come up with kind of an alternate structure, a little different than the traditional. And as mentioned in the introduction, it involves a team leader who by default is unofficially, I guess, our public information officer. And as it's proposed, that's Adrienne Califf. She's the Deputy CAO over operations. And then she's going to have a core team of individuals that will oversee 5 different categories of the different sorts of things that we do within the county. And so those individuals are the district chiefs of staff. And then also we are going to have a key representative from IT who will be part of that core group as well. And as you go deeper and into the 5 categories, the 5 areas of business that we have here within the county, we're going to designate a departmental rep within each department and provide them with an incentive to work on getting these stories together, this information together, so that the core group can get it out. That person at the departmental level will also be tasked with keeping our website, different websites updated and the information updated. I've probably gone too much into Adrienne's presentation, but I just wanted to kick that off, and I think we have all of the key individuals here from the proposed public information team, or PIT, and with that I'll turn it over to Adrienne.
Adrienne, may I make a statement before we go any further?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. This is a quick statement regarding the public information team. This team is a vision of the board to promote the good things happening in Madera County. As we learned at our management workshop, there are a lot of good things happening in our county that go unnoticed or unmentioned. In addition, it's county staff who makes these things happen. Not one of our supervisors up here can take full credit for the successes of our county. There is no I in team. Right. Contrary to what some people may say, this team was not structured to make the board look good, but rather to tell the Madera County story. What better way to tell our story than to utilize the staff that is in the trenches every day? Thanks to everyone for your hard work in producing a very concise communication plan, social media policy, and overall structure for this team. I look forward to seeing this positive impact this team will make in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. That is a perfect introduction to what will be a very brief presentation. And we've heard a lot about team in the last item and beginning in this item. And I can't stress to the public and to the board what an honor it has been to work with the team that was put together to realize all the documents in this proposal that's before the board today. Each of the 5 district chiefs of staff, they are actually the majority. They make up the majority of our core group. Each of these individuals have talents that they brought to this team, and without each of them, this would not be possible. I also have to recognize the incredible amount of work, hard work, that County Council and Deputy County Council Mayor Bott put into the social media policies. I'll start a little bit about talking about the social media policy. It was last updated in January of 2011. It was a relatively short policy compared to what you see today. But what you see today is actually something that will protect the county when it comes to posts, and it will actually give guidance to our departmental representatives and also to our team as we move forth to tell the Madera County story. And it's a great document. It was a work in progress, and we would not have been able to do it without the work of Ms. Bott and Ms. Garza. And then lastly, we did have IT, who helped us out tremendously. Tanya Say and Jay Doss helped with getting some contracts together for us for vendors, providing some valuable input. And I can't stress enough how much time we all put into this for the last, probably 4+ months. We had long meetings. 3, 4, maybe even, I think at the top, maybe even up to 4 hours. But I wanted to just share very quickly one of the items that came out of this meeting and our efforts, and it's a PowerPoint. And the very first page of this PowerPoint, it talks about exactly what Chairman Rodriguez had shared, telling the Madera County story. And what this document basically shares is that everything that's already been reiterated. It's the board's desire to communicate with our constituents and to tell our story and to make sure that we get ahead of items that we want to promote and to share it in a way that is accurate and share it in a way that's positive and that is enlightening to all those that are going to be impacted. One of the things that the team is going to primarily be charged with is to send out messaging and share resources and effectively disseminate information utilizing technology. And I think that that's the basis of our team, is the fact that the public, they receive most of their information now through social media. And we want to capitalize on that. And when we're in government, we don't have to stay status quo. We don't have to stay, quote unquote, boring. We can be out there and we can be ahead of the game, and on cutting edge. I wanted to show a little bit the organizational chart. Eric had touched upon this a little bit and how it's structured. We have each of the 5 chiefs of staff assigned to functional areas. And if the public has noticed, and those who've liked our Madera County Facebook page, you would recognize a number of posts that have been shared over the last few months. And I believe we've done a really great job. And in fact, we had a team member who has shared that analytics is his thing. And it was Anthony, and he provided some very valuable information about just how positive an impact our work has already had in our community. For instance, one of the stats that he shared with all of us was the number of individuals that we were able to reach with our posts since the time we began our work increased from 151 people to 698 people. Wow. That is amazing. And when we get our story out, more and more, that number is going to increase significantly. And one of the things that we learned from our work is when we were dealing with the fires. We had a person who messaged in about where their family members were located, and we were able to utilize the information that was posted on our Facebook page to help that person. And we all know that when we're faced with that type of situation, the individuals are worried about their loved ones. They want to get information. They want to know where they are, how they can help. And so that's just a small but actually very impactful example of what this team is going to accomplish as time goes on. The mission of our team, and I'll wrap this up here, is to enhance the presence and transparency of Madera County through our team. And that is, I think, one of the core purposes of this team is to be transparent and to give the information that we know that the public is in need of. We have some goals, and all of this is actually in the packet and in the agenda packet. And then the 2 basic documents, I already talked about the social media policy, but our strategic plan. Our communication plan is very important in how we're going to move forward and complete our work. And let's see here. One of the things that's on the agenda that is important for the board's consideration is the approval of a contract. As we're moving forward in our work, we're going to need to have a centralized management software product that will help us disseminate our posts in an effective manner. And in our social media policy, in that policy, there are 3 social media platforms that we're going to be utilizing: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on a more limited basis, LinkedIn. And this particular platform, it's Hootsuite. They are a leader in this particular type of software. They have, I believe the board letter says, about 15 million users across the world. And so we believe that this is going to be the best product for us to manage our work. And then lastly, and this is actually an area where County Council really assisted us in learning how to understand that what we post on these social media sites is considered public record. And so we're going to have to archive those public records. And there's a purchasing agent agreement that will be managed by IT to archive all of our posts. And that's actually the conclusion of my presentation. I wanted to share that we're still in discussions with bargaining units. We've had approval from 3 bargaining units, and that's very positive. And we will move forward to try to effectuate those side letters within the next few meetings. But in closing, I just want to say it is really a pleasure. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be a part of the team. You all know how talented each of your district's chiefs of staff are, and through this process, I truly learned that myself, and it's been an honor. Thank you.
Supervisor Frazier? Yeah, I mean, I think this was one of those amazing things that Eric brought to us, the CAO. I thought this shows, and I hate saying thinking outside of the box because I think now that's kind of thinking inside of the box to say thinking outside of the box. But I just thought this was amazing. It was like, again, a very simple solution to a complex problem. I think that this should probably be submitted to NACO as something that we show as a cost-saving measure, and then instead of just having one smart person, we have 6 plus all the others, like looking at it and bringing like different voices to it. So that in and of itself helps to keep it fresh and different. So each post doesn't sound exactly the same, or each media release doesn't sound exactly the same. It has different emphases on it. I just think that just makes this more vibrant of a instead of just one single person that just always sounds the exact same. And you all have individual relationships with different media outlets or different people that you've met through your professional careers that the other ones wouldn't have, and I just think it's great. I want to caution when we say sometimes I hear PIT team, and that really means Public Information Team. So call it maybe PI team or PIT. So not PIT team. But I think, a lot of this was born out of, and to kind of touch on the point that Max had said that, it's not just to make us look good. I think what we realized through Measure L was that we just looked bad, right? Everything that, it didn't matter what good we were doing, we looked bad. Right. Because our story wasn't out there. People weren't engaged with it. I think the idea that most people have is that it's business as usual here at the county, and that's just not the case. I think this is a very innovative, forward-thinking organization that is doing a lot of good, and no one knows about it, right? Everybody just knows that we're in a big 4-story building and we're bad, and we're taking away people's liberties, and that's just not the case. And so I think, as much as I hated Measure L passing, and it killed me, but I think those kinds of things are watershed moments that make us really look inside of ourselves and figure out what is it that we're doing, what are we doing wrong, why do people have this impression that we're not to be trusted, or that the county as an organization is not to be trusted, and how can we change that image? And it's not, it's not with smoke and mirrors, it's not, putting lipstick on a pig, we have to change who we are as an organization on the things that we're not doing well, and then the things that we are doing well, we need to get those things out, and then take credit for the things that we've done wrong and show that we're changing them. And I think that this PI team or PIT will be able to do just that in a very fresh and innovative voice, because I know the people that are on the team, and I know the voices that you have individually, and to get that out to the community is what's going to really start to change the way that our organization is viewed and becoming that trusted agency that we really want to be, that I think that we are, but we just need to allow that voice to be out there. And thank you for all the hard work that you've put into it. I've seen, I know it's taken a lot of time, but I've always seen smiles on everybody's faces, because I think it's one of those things that I think they see the importance of it and getting behind it. So thank you, and I think that's where we're going with this.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yeah, I don't think he's saying you're the pits. So you're the tops. And thank you for, I won't say the box, I'll say the containment zone. Thank you for thinking outside of the containment zone. Others are telling a story about Madera County, and that story isn't always accurate. In fact, sometimes it's way off base.
Yeah.
And we could give example after example of people who are claiming to report on what we're doing, and the story they're telling is completely false. So having this information out is so important, and I see it in more of this light, not that we're telling a story to make us look good. We're telling the story that we've been told over and over again we're not telling. We're being transparent. And so those who would complain about this approach to telling the truth and the story can't have it both ways. They want to complain about us not telling the story, but now they're going to complain about us telling the story. That just doesn't cut it. So I'm very happy to ignore the naysayers and tell our story as it is, the truth, and be transparent. This is a very important part of government, to let people know what we are doing, because we're doing a lot. Thank you.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about an information person for quite a few years before we even started to do this team concept. And we even had a person from a paper that we thought would be very good. Eric and I talked about it probably 4 years ago. But it'd be expensive. By doing the way we're doing this, it's going to save us lots of money. And this little bit of a bump they get, it's not going to, they've already put in so many hours that not even closely compensate for that. But if we had that one person, guess what happens when he leaves? He might decide he don't like it after a week or a year or two, and all the information, all the work, all that stuff would be gone. If any of you decide to leave us, or we fire you, hey, we still got all the rest of you to have all that information, and it's all shared. And so I think that it's the money savings and the concept like that. And who else knows what's going on in this county than our chiefs of staffs in each district? I mean, one person trying to do this to cover a county like we have, it'd just be overwhelmed probably. I mean, just in my district, I got 8 communities I got to communicate with. How's that one person going to get to all of them and see what they want and what they need? We got it here with a team. And when I first got elected, I always, everything I send emails, talk to anything else, I always call about my team. And I think that's what we have here. And Eric's been a great leader on that team concept from the day we hired him. And I can't thank you guys for stepping up and coming up where you already got right here now. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's like David and Brett both said, and even Max, that we have not got the message out what we have done and doing for our community, and we need to get it out there. Somebody told me on that Maziel deal that we got to treat the public sometimes like grammar school kids. You've got to educate them on what's really happening in a government facility like this, because 90% of people do not realize what we have to do to get anything done to make it successful. So I think this is going to be really successful. Thank you.
Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and I know everybody enjoyed it. It's not only a great initiative, but it's just not even optional anymore. It's mandatory. We have to go that direction, so thanks so much. There's two ways to go, PIO or PIE. But with the PIO, it's a very simple organization. There's one guy who is responsible for everything. In this type of situation, it's great, but it's a team. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and so what I guess my word of caution would be is that we can never let down as far as coordination. And because there are so many moving pieces, we've got to, make sure we have careful oversight and always monitor for effectiveness. Because you've got 5 people here, and you look at what they're responsible for, but again, somebody might be maybe not carrying their weight. And then you look at the management team. I see human resources, IT. And plus the chiefs of staff, and it's a little bit confusing as far as the organization chart. I'm kind of used to seeing like one person here, going out, one person, and then teams report to them. In this situation, there's 3 people on top, there's 6 people in the next box, and then you've got, so it's unusual from the world I come from. So with that, it's my caution and my to just, again, we have to carefully monitor this thing, and how do we value the effectiveness of what the information is and if we're kicking it out. So I think that we need to look at how we monitor the end product. That being said, we have an outstanding team of individuals to carry it out, and there's no reason they can't, but again, team members may change somewhere down the road.
Thank you, and I don't know if any of the team members would like to share any words.
Absolutely, I do, and you have definitely valid concerns because with so many moving pieces, you need to make sure that you have some kind of oversight, and that's what I want to stress the importance of the Hootsuite Enterprises, because that is the ability for us to manage our workflows to make sure that, and it allows us to have reports weekly, monthly, depending on how well our message is going out. So with things like that, we are able to have more accountability, and that's why I feel like it is necessary with so many people getting involved that we do have some kind of workflow management system.
We have. Go ahead, Liddy. Did you want to say something? We have what you're looking at right there and the back. We have some talented people that are in front of us, and they're going to do a good job. But the reporting has to be, and you guys all know this, has to be truthful, and we shouldn't exaggerate. Tell it the way it is. Let's be truthful, and I think we'll be in good shape. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Any comment from the public on this issues?
I move we approve items 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. At this time, we're going to take a 15-minute break, and after that, we're going to go lunch and come back at 1:30. Okay?
We're going to lunch right now. What? We're going to lunch right now.
We'll be convening as the IHSS, the In-Home Support Services Public Authority. Item A is our consent calendar.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We'll take it out to the public. Any comment from the public?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. I don't have any additions to the agenda. We have our public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Certainly not.
And the next item is a closed session.
Chairman and members of the board, there's one item for closed session, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The county negotiators are Deborah Martinez, that's the Director of the Department of Social Services, and Stephen Mendick from the County Counsel's Office.
Okay. Public comment concerning closed session? None?
It's the union.
Turn it on, honey.
By County Council on closed session items.
Chairman, there are no reportable actions.
And now we're back as the Board of Supervisors. We're on item 7E, County Administration Department. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution of declaration of surplus property and notice of intention to set the public hearing on November 21, 2017 at 10 a.m. for the sale of real property located in Madera, California. Assessor parcels number 049-085-023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Chairman, did we ask for public comment?
Oh, what are you doing up there, Maria?
It's already been moved and seconded, Tom. You can't ask her anything.
Oh, I know all about it already. I've done my homework. Eric?
Well, I'm just talking about
you're talking
whether
about
or not there was an
maybe?
I dotted or a semicolon in the wrong place.
I'm sorry. The motion was by
Yeah.
Frazier and seconded by who?
Tom.
Tom. Okay. And did we ask for public comment already?
Yeah, there's public comment. Public comment.
Come on, Becky, get up and say something.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. Item 7F, Animal Services Department. Introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 6.04 of Title 6 of the Madera County Code pertaining to animal services fees and consideration to adopt a resolution modifying the animal services fee schedule, waive the reading, and set the public hearing for November 7, 2017 at 10 a.m.
Changes? Well, if I had that going, that'd be better, huh?
Yeah.
Whoops.
What was your name?
Whoops, Kirsten.
What do you do?
Not a darn thing some days.
I got a question. Oh, okay. No, I like this idea. We haven't done it for a long time, like you said in there, but I think that we need to maybe, and I don't know if we can on this, maybe the county council can tell us, but have a cost of living on this that just automatically goes into place every year anyway on all of them.
On all these fees?
I just think we're doing due diligence, and we haven't done that for so many years here. And this is one of those items that, you gave a great explanation on some of them why you charged more and some of them you didn't. But all of them are going to go up, Kirsten. You know that as well as I do. I'd like to, before it comes back to us on the 7th, I would like to have a cost of living statement in there if the other board members agree to that.
CPA. I think that's a good idea, Tom, on everything you do.
Yeah, no problem with that.
That'll save you a lot of work too, and there's something really drastic in one certain item that we can change, but otherwise you got your rears covered, huh?
Okay, I like it that way.
So, Chairman and members of the board, so the cost of living increase for the amount of time that's allowed, I believe it's 5 years, so, and then we might have to come back and renew it. That would be, that language would go into the resolution. So what we have is an amendment to the ordinance, and our fees were actually in the ordinance, and so it took a lot more for the director of animal services to increase those fees because as ordinance amended. It's still, you can still do it, but
right.
We've eliminated that language and instead mirrored what's more common by adopting the fee schedule by resolution. And so the language that you are requesting would be language that would be included in the resolution here that's a part of this backup.
Okay.
And so
I'll make the motion that says that.
Well, I want to make sure that we do this correctly, and so we could finagle some language, something like "and cost of living" under the laws of the state, or we could just bring back the resolution when we bring back the ordinance on November 7th.
I'll make the motion to, if you could, you still do it, waive the reading and set the public hearing for November 7th, and put the language in for a cost of living. CPI on however way we have to do it, and so the public will know in plenty of time to be able to digest it. So
bring it all back on the 7th.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Second.
And let me add something. Cost of living, you can add that, but it's not much.
It's not much.
The cost to operate that operation out there it's going up every year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to revisit those fees pretty often to be adequately. Have enough resources to operate out there and do it correctly.
Correct.
You can add the cost of living, but it's not going to increase that much. It's not going to be that much help.
It's about 2% per year is what I gathered.
Some of these.
Yeah, let's do that as often as you need.
Yeah, and it's consistent with everything else that we're doing to keep that cost of living in there. But I think kind of what you were saying, Max, we do need to look at a long-term solution for the infrastructure that's over there, the building, and what we do long term with that. How do we build a new one?
This group of people that we put together, to analyze all the problems that we're having here, that would be a good subject to kind of bring up when we all get together, because the majority of that money is being paid by the county. Yeah, there's contributions from the city, but it's not what it should be. And we should make, like we talked before, people should realize how much it costs to operate that business out there,
mm-hmm.
and they should pay accordingly to their usage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And So that has to be analyzed, and this group of people that we get together hopefully every quarter or every 6 months, we can bring that subject up so that they realize what it really costs, and maybe you can make a presentation also.
I'd be happy to participate in any way, shape, or form. You bet.
Yeah, the true figures.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be a popular topic.
It's always a popular topic.
When it comes to animals, it's always popular.
Yes, it is.
People love animals.
Okay.
So moving forward
Are you
to...
done? Yeah. Okay.
We're done?
All right. We'll take it out to the public.
Your doggy license just went up, honey.
Call for the vote.
He doesn't drive.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. County Clerk Recorder Division of Elections and Clerk of the Board of Supervisors. Introduction of an ordinance adding a section to Title 2.09 to enact electronic filing of campaign documents and Statement of Economic Interest forms, SEI forms 700, with an opt-in program, waive the reading, and set the hearing for November 7, 2017 at 10 a.m. 1. Candidates and committees have the option of filing electronically or by paper with a mandate for electronic filing by January 1, 2018. 2. Conflict of interest statements. 700 form filers have the option of filing electronically or by paper with a mandate for electronic filing by January 1, 2020. So may I read from the dais, or you want me to go down there? Okay.
So we're moving it up a little quicker, right?
So in November of 2016, the clerk of the board signed with NetFile to provide electronic filing for the 700 forms, our Statement of Economic Interest forms. Later that month, the contract was amended to include the addition of Campaign Finance Module, which is billed separately to the Division of Elections. The NetFile Statement of Economic Interest administrative system allows the clerk of the board's office to administer our own electronic filing system for disclosure statements and allows us to accept both e-filed and paper-filed disclosure statements. It's designed to follow a filer and the disclosure filings throughout the years, keeping track of filings and determining if they are on-time filers or late filers, notifying the filers of upcoming filing requirements, and generates letters.
Filer.
Once an e-filer submits a disclosure statement via the Internet, a paper copy of this disclosure can be made available to the public for research and review to print. The clerk of the board is the official filing officer for certain designated positions designated by the conflict of interest codes, for which the Board of Supervisors is a code reviewing body. The benefits of the electronic filing makes for more accurate reporting and an increase in the number of statements filed on time. It's easier for the officials to comply with reported obligations and provides the public with information in a more accessible and consistent manner. The FPPC supports efforts to move from paper-based reporting to a transparent electronic system. Madera County is among the 38 counties approved by the FPPC for electronic filing. So at the present time, for just your 700 forms, which is what the clerk of the board's office takes care of, we have 162 out of our 425 filers that have done it e-filing, and that's just with our office kind of by word of mouth encouraging people to use the electronic filing. So our recommendation is that we'd like to mandate all 700 forms to be filed electronically by January 1, 2020, which gives us time to do public outreach and training as well. And then the Division of Elections has your campaign disclosures.
Move to waive the reading and set the hearing for November 7th.
Second. Take it out to the public. Filing. Bring it back.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
File.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yep.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor
and I think
Rodriguez?
it's a great thing.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Can I make just two comments?
You bet.
Rebecca Martinez, Clerk Recorder.
That's two right there.
Well, wait.
Becky Martinez.
Clerk Recorder Registrar, you're going to want to know this. For those people that don't have a computer to be able to file those statements online, we'll have a workstation available in the office for that.
Beautiful.
What we have done thus far is we've taken all of the board's 460s campaign disclosures. We have scanned them, redacted them, and they're ready to be viewed online as soon as we get the link. because it's not working that well right now. So we'll get that fixed, and then people will be able to look at those things online, and they won't be coming to the office to see us and worry about who we're telling.
You don't have to pay that 10 cents a sheet to get them either?
They will if they want a paper copy, because what they're going to see is a redacted version, right? No addresses, no bank account information, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But if they want the copy, they'll pay the 10 cents, and it will be unredacted.
Okay.
Last bit of information, not regarding this, but the law changed with regards to the SIGs and lieu period for 2018, June of 2018. So it moved from December 29 to December 14. So we'll start issuing those on December 14. And I think the value of the signatures went up also. So if it was 25 cents, I think it goes to 33 cents. So.
Well, we're on that subject. If you guys are having any kind of town halls or anything, you got to get her to come and explain the new voting system, because it's really, the people, when she gives it to them, it's really informative, and I think it's the way to go. And since we're one of the 14 counties that got picked, we need to really do this, but we got to get the public on our side. So
right.
Get her out there. Don't forget the 9th is my town hall in Oakhurst. So
the 9th of November? Okay.
I emailed Rotary, so.
Yeah, we'll be putting together our election assistance plan, basically, for that model, and as soon as we do that, we have to put it out for public comment for, I don't know how many days, 14 days, something like that. And then we have to set it for a public hearing. And so that's where we'll get most of our feedback. But right now, we are visiting as many organizations as we can. So,
very important.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. What's the feedback, when you have these meetings that they...
Interestingly enough, I started with a group of folks that I knew might be opposed to it. And, we let them state their concerns. I think we've addressed them. I met with the group up in the mountains, John Perro and his group, and they appear to be on board. So here's our numbers. We already have 64 to 67% registered voters that vote by mail. We're only talking about another 30 plus. So, that's the way most of our voters vote in this county. We have a higher turnout. And so we're just increasing that other 33%. And we know we're not going to get 100%. So really we can back that down to 15 or 20%. So we'll see. I think it's what's best for our community. I think that eventually we'll be saving money. Not in the beginning. There's going to be a lot of money to put out to get started, but I think in the long run, it should save us some money. So,
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
7H, Social Services Department. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution repealing Resolution Number 2011-151 regarding county general assistance and approving policies and standards for the General Assistance Program.
Good afternoon. Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services. I have before you some general assistance recommended resolution amendments, which are listed in the item. I wondered if you have any questions, or we can go one by one if you have any.
Move to approve.
Second.
Take it out to the public. No
Can you please make a line?
Sign in.
Sign in. No pushing.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Vote passes 5-0.
Yeah, is that how they do it in Fresno County? The F word?
Well played.
7I, Water and Natural Resources Department. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 17-028 in the amount of $56,438 derived from Water and Natural Resources State Water Grant to temporary salaries for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required.
Where's she at?
Supervisor Wheeler, I do not know.
I had some questions.
Can we maybe skip to the next item and come back to
That's
that?
her also.
Oh, how about the last item? They're all...
The pending legislation, supervisor and staff reports, all we can do.
Pending legislation, huh?
Pending legislation, discuss, support, or oppose legislation presented by supervisors and/or staff.
I'm opposed to all new laws. Let's make a motion that send it to all our senators and assemblymen. No more new laws.
No new laws?
Here she comes. Hey, Eric, she's here. Hey, you're up there in the hot seat.
I was on the phone with a constituent.
And?
These shoes don't run very well. I apologize. Okay. So today we are looking at an exciting thing for the Water and Natural Resources Department. We're hoping to add a staff member to the team of one. He comes with a background in accounting. He's also been a controller and has a lot of experience and enjoys working numbers, which will be a great thing because we have a lot of grant funding coming in.
So you got a person picked up?
We do. His name is Dennis Braga.
Who?
Dennis Braga.
Dennis?
Mm-hmm. He's from a family farm, Braga Organic Farms. It's on the west side of the Madera Subbasin. Oh. And so today I seek your approval.
Are these one-time dollars?
I don't know what that means. One-time dollars.
We need to find out because
temporary salaries.
Oh, yes. This is an extra help position, an admin analyst 2 at the E-Step. This will be funded through a grant that is being submitted now.
So does he know that this is just...
Yes,
the grant's gone, he's gone?
He does.
Okay, and then also how did you come out with the exact number? The grant is $56,438, and you're going to pay him for $56,438. How did you come up with that exact number?
Well, actually, we will have more money than that in the grant. We'll be receiving about $150,000 a year.
Oh,
and so
okay.
his
Well,
time
don't say that in the backup. It just says that the grant is $56,438, and he's going to get paid $56,438.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking,
well, the way
you did some good numbers. You sound like Janet, whatever her name was, the last auditor we had. She could come up with exact pennies. And I said, how'd you do that?
Well, I had some help from Human Resources and from the auditor, so they did that calculation for me.
But I didn't know that because it said the grant was that much, so thank you for
I had some
that.
help writing the board letter, too, so I'm sorry if that was ambiguous.
That makes more sense, because if you're going to be one of those that comes out with exact pennies like that, I'm going to pat you on the back, honey.
No, and we'll bill his time to the grant for administration of the grant. That's how we'll be paying for it, but thank you.
Anybody else?
Move to approve.
Second, I'd like to congratulate you on your choice, too. I know Dennis personally, hardworking guy, smart. He will do a good job for us.
Is he from South?
He's from Madera.
South Madera, see.
South Madera.
He hasn't got the Okie mentality over there like us.
So,
his family has Braga Organic Farms.
They've been here for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was raised here.
And I had one more question. So, of the $150,000, what's the rest of it going to be spent on? Isn't it supposed to go to? Because it's supposed to be with all of the different agencies within the basin, correct?
Yeah, so we're applying for 2 different grants. They're both for $2.5 million. And so both of those grants have administration money, and so part of it will go to support the salary of the Director of Water and Natural Resources, and the other portion of it will go to support the new employee, if it's approved.
Okay, so it's not a $150,000 grant. It's out of the grant that's
that's just the administrative part.
Okay, so that's just the administrative part. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you foresee him doing any grant application work?
If there are any, of course. Mm-hmm.
You got to watch what he's being paid for if I have a grant.
Right.
They're restricted to what they can do.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Just when I had heard the 150, I was thinking 58. That's a little over 33% of the grant. I think that they're probably going to want
gets paid out
some
of
more.
some of it too, though.
They're going to want some more measurables, but that makes total sense.
We're able to take, we got word last week, we're able to take 5% of the grant for administrative costs.
Yeah.
That's their limit at DWR. The last time they didn't put a limit on it, we actually took 10%, but this time they're saying 5%.
Perfect. question about let's have a motion.
I move. Oh, we already did that.
Okay.
Motion second. Yeah.
And did we ask for public comment already?
Any public comment?
There's nobody here. Comment from the public. You're supposed to read.
Let me run over there.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0. 7J, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Discussion and consideration to create advisory committees for the 3 county groundwater sustainability agencies and to establish a structure for the role and conduct of the advisory committees.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. Staff has worked very closely with council. I want to thank council for all their support in helping put together some recommendations and some structure for the advisory committees. We felt that it was important to do that before we do the appointments. And I did want to give you a heads up that we have received just under 30 applications, and we will be giving those to each of the members of the board. I've gotten clearance from council to give those to you to review so you have time before the November 7th board meeting to look at them. I will also be sorting them into both sub-basin and into what eligibility they will have as far as if they're an east side grower, west side grower, if they're representing a disadvantaged community or any of the other spots that we've put together. So at this time, we're recommending a 9-member makeup for the advisory committees of the Madera and Chowchilla sub-basin committees. 2 of them will be at-large spots, 2 for disadvantaged communities, 2 agricultural spots, and working with the recommendation from the Farm Bureau, the staff is making a recommendation that we have 1 agricultural member from the east side and 1 from the west side because they have very different water needs and water issues and water supply. We are recommending that a spot on each of these committees is held for a public water system, specifically for a mutual water company. Mutual water companies have been sort of waiting for a while, and we last year received word on how they can participate in this process. They are water purveyors, although they are not public agencies. So they were not able to form their own agencies, and so it's my opinion as staff that they need to have a formal representation on these advisory committees because they are purveyors of water. For example, in the Madera Sub-Basin, we have the Madera Water Company, which provides water to 1,900 connections, large water supplier in David Rogers District, Mr. Supervisor Rogers District. The next 2 spots would be for residential representatives. So as I said, we've collected applications, which I'll make available to you this week for your review. I'm sure that you've read the other recommendations. The Delta Mendota Sub-Basin, it should be a smaller committee because we don't represent very many landowners there. We only represent 9 landowners. So we recommend 2 at-large members, 1 for a disadvantaged community, which we do have an application for in the Delta Mendota Sub-Basin, 1 for agricultural, 1 for residential. And then if there are any questions on the structure of the committee, the only thing that I would bring out or call out from the recommendation is that on the advisement of council, we recommend that the board establishes a time and place for the meetings of the advisory committees. These meetings will be noticed according to the Brown Act, and it's appropriate that this board set the time and place for that. Other than that, I will defer to council if he has any additional questions or comments.
Yes, just to add to, I'm sorry, Mike Linden, Deputy County Counsel.
Thank you. Just to add to the time and place, basically what the board would be doing right now is reserving the right to set the time and place for the meetings. It'd be appropriate to do that at a later time because we have many candidates with many different types of schedules, and it would be best for the board to consider all of the schedules and of the persons appointed, and then to set what will be appropriate time for such meetings, and then appropriate, whether it's going to be bi-monthly or quarterly. So basically right now the board is just reserving its right to set the specific parameters later.
That's all I have if there are any questions.
Any questions for the board?
Something we got to do, and I think it's going to be great. So
yeah, I think you're on the right path. Do we need a motion on this one, or is this just discussion? Or
yeah, we need a motion to accept the
guidelines.
Yeah, the structure of the committee.
We'll take it on to the public.
I'll second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yep.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yep.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Number 9, supervisors and staff reports.
Good job.
I have nothing to report.
You don't have nothing to report, right?
Nope.
And to the Joint Powers Authority for San Joaquin Valley Water Infrastructure. Also was on Channel 26 last night with the Valley Water discussion.
Very good.
I was on Channel 26 for Papa Murphy's last Friday. Nothing else to report.
I was on the local TV, Norfolk TV station for, what did I do?
I don't know, but it had something to do with the buckhorn? Was that?
Oh, that's what it was, right. I knew I was going to dance, and I was dancing. That's right.
All right.
Nothing to report, sir.
Nothing to report.
Who's adjourned? Motion to adjourn? Yes, ma'am.
Good job.
Got me out just in time. I got to get going. My son's. Okay.